You've probably heard the phrase, data is the new oil. Well, for a country like Nepal, that's not just some catchy tech slogan. It's a very real roadmap to its next chapter of economic growth. So today, we're going to break down how business analytics could be the key to moving Nepal's economy beyond its traditional foundations. To really understand where Nepal is going, you first have to understand where it is right now. And it starts with this number. Around 65% of the entire population is employed in agriculture. Now, while that makes it the absolute backbone of the economy, the sector is facing some pretty significant productivity challenges. And here's the second piece of the puzzle. Somewhere between 21 and 25% of Nepal's entire GDP, it comes from remittances. That's the money sent home by Nepalese workers abroad. It's a vital lifeline for sure, but it also creates a major dependency. So that's the picture today. You have an economy standing at a crossroads, one that's heavily reliant on these two pillars, agriculture and remittances. For years, they've provided stability, but they also expose the nation to some pretty serious risks. So what are those risks exactly? Well, economists talk about something called Dutch disease, which is where a huge influx of foreign cash from remittances can actually end up hurting other parts of the economy. You add that to low productivity on farms, gaps in infrastructure, and a persistent brain drain of skilled people leaving the country, and it becomes very clear that a new engine for growth is needed, and urgently. And that economic reality is what leads us to this transformative new resource, data. It has the very real potential to become that new engine for Nepal's growth. It's a powerful metaphor, isn't it? Just like oil, data has to be collected, processed, and refined to unlock its true value. But here's the crucial difference. Unlike oil, data is a renewable, ever-growing asset. For a country like Nepal, that represents an absolute game-changing opportunity. Now, the tool used to refine this new oil is something we call business intelligence, or BI for short. And it's actually pretty simple. It's just the process of using data to make smarter decisions. Everything from understanding what your customers really want to making your supply chains run more efficiently. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. There are companies in Nepal right now that are already putting this into practice. And the results they're seeing? They're incredible. Let's take a look at a few of these pioneers. Let's start with Bhat-Bhateni Supermarket, one of the biggest retail chains in the country. A recent survey found that 70% of their customers feel the company really gets them, that it understands their needs. Now, that kind of insight doesn't just happen by accident. So how do they pull it off? It's by analyzing customer data. They use it to drive everything from their quality control processes to how they train their staff. And the result? A whopping 62% of their customers are willing to recommend the store to others. That is data in action, plain and simple. And this same idea applies to even the most traditional parts of the economy. Take GeoKrishi, an Agritech platform. It gives farmers crucial data, things like weather forecasts and market prices, and the impact is undeniable. Over 51,000 farmers have been helped, with 97% of them getting better access to localized weather information. That's a huge deal for improving their crop yields. Okay, so this all sounds great, but let's be realistic. Making this shift isn't a walk in the park. There are some significant cultural and structural hurdles that need to be cleared. You see, traditionally, a lot of business decisions in Nepal have been based on intuition, hierarchy, or personal connections. There's even a term for it, afnamanche, which basically means having your people. That old way of doing things is now clashing with a new model, one based on objective, data-driven insights that champion meritocracy and efficiency. So what are the real roadblocks here? What's holding back wider adoption? Well, the barriers are pretty significant. We're talking about a lack of digital skills in the workforce, gaps in infrastructure, high costs for small and medium-sized businesses, and just a natural cultural resistance to changing practices that have been in place for a long, long time. But here's the fascinating part. The foundation for this change is actually being laid as we speak. While internet penetration is still growing at around 56%, just look at mobile connections. They're at 132% of the population. That means mobile is the primary channel. And with nearly half the country on social media, the raw data is being generated every single day. And you know what? The tools to actually harness all this data are already accessible. Customer relationship management systems, or CRMs, are readily available for businesses of all sizes. They allow companies to start tracking customer interactions and building real relationships that are based on data, not just guesswork. It's the same story with modern point-of-sale systems. They provide another absolutely critical source of data. Even a small shop or a local restaurant can use these tools to collect vital information on sales, inventory, and customer preferences, right there at the checkout counter. Okay, so the potential is clearly there. The tools are available. The big question is, if you're a leader, what do you actually do to make this happen? Well, here's a practical playbook. The path forward really boils down to 4 key steps. First, start small. Use the data you already have. Second, invest in your people. Train them and build a culture that actually values data. Third, choose the right tools that fit your specific business needs. And finally, and this is crucial, always make sure your data is high quality and secure. But this can't just rest on the shoulders of business leaders. This has to be a national effort. The government's Digital Nepal framework is a critical start, but it absolutely must be supported by clear data policies and by universities that are producing the next generation of data scientists. And here's the ultimate payoff. Using business intelligence isn't just about making local businesses more efficient, it's about making Nepal as a whole more competitive on the world stage. It's about analyzing global markets to boost exports of signature products like tea, spices, and cardamom. So we end where we began. The data is there, it's a vast renewable resource just waiting. It holds the potential to diversify Nepal's economy, to create high-skilled jobs, and to build a genuinely more prosperous future. The only question left is this: will Nepal choose to refine its new oil, or will it let all of that value remain untapped beneath the surface?